You do that, please?
Accidentally, yeah, we're good.
Okay. All right, it is 7 o'clock. We will call the April 8th regular education meeting to order. This meeting is being held in compliance with the Nebraska Open Meetings Act, a copy of which is on the wall right there. And with that, let's take a roll.
Chase North.
Here.
Cassie Westbrook.
Here.
Chase Carterville.
Here.
Brian Locker.
Here.
Matt O'Daniel.
Here.
Shannon Moore.
And Shannon has advised me that she has a work conflict this evening, so I will make a motion to excuse her absence for tonight.
I will second that.
All right, we move the second in. With that, let's vote.
Chase Carterville.
Yes.
Brian Locker.
Yes.
Matt O'Daniel.
Yes.
Chase North.
Yes.
Cassie Westbrook.
No.
All right, motion carries. We will go to the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, agenda item 1.4 is the approval of the regular meeting agenda. I will ask for a motion.
So moved.
All right,
Second.
we move the second in. Any discussion? Let's vote.
Brian Locker.
Yes.
Matt O'Daniel.
Yes.
Chase North.
Yes.
Cassie Westbrook.
Yes.
Chase Carterville.
Yes. All right, motion carries. Agenda item number 2, welcome to the guests and public forum. Is there anybody wishing to address the board this evening? Unless you would like to address the board again.
You have a report coming, so.
Okay, I see. Seeing none, we'll move to agenda item number 3. You'll see the minutes of the previous board meeting, and then also the monthly financials. Dr. Lewis and I went through these, and I believe Matt, in his new role, has also went through them. Dr. Lewis, was there anything you wanted to highlight on there?
We had a couple of questions that Matt raised, and I think JC and I talked about as well. There's one bill on there that appears to be a duplicate, but it's just split in between elementary and secondary, and that is the towing charge from when the bus broke down on our way with students to the district lines. And we piled them all on one bus, and we had a grand time, and we had to have bus towed home. So that was that is right. It's just split exactly
Right.
now. And Matt, what was the other one we talked about?
The other one was, the check register, there are a couple of bills and, the notations on the scoreboard work.
Right.
basically, so.
Yeah, so that is for the current scoreboards. That will be up for about another week. Most of the sub-district names are out on some glitches with them. Most of this is correct.
Yeah.
So make sure we didn't put any mistakes in the game.
Those were the only 2 questions I had. Everything else appears to be answered.
And those were the questions I actually raised too.
Yeah.
So that's funny, yep.
And then you'll see our hires, we're doing really well. We've only got one position to get filled yet. And we managed to get where we feel like our custodians are back to full force. We brought 2 new custodians on, so that's great.
What's still open? What position?
Math.
Yeah.
Yeah, secondary math. And we're working on that.
Maybe it's up on the phone.
I think for everybody, we need to talk to all of our conference districts about finding anybody in math or science or even English language arts or something like that. Now the secondary subject matter, those content area ones are difficult to get filled right now.
School board update a little later. Those questions too. All right, are any other questions? I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
One second.
Moving second, Cass, any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote.
Chase North.
Yes.
Cassie Westbrook.
Yes.
Chase Carterville.
Yes.
Brian Locker.
Yes.
Matt O'Daniel.
Yes.
Motion carries. Agenda item number 4 is the curriculum report with science teachers. This is a perfect time. You have one here.
You've all met Mrs. Kern, right?
Yeah, I know I've met.
It's been a couple of years now, right? This is
Yeah,
your second
this is my second year here. I'm very glad to talk to you tonight about our curriculum, and instruction that we're doing in the science department. So I just wanted to highlight some things for you. The curriculum that we have across the middle school and high school science department includes various ways that we incorporate multicultural education. In the science education, one of the ways is by looking at different phenomena or social impacts and ways that science can support our societies. One interesting example I did this year with my biology students is really about water insecurity and inexpensive ways we could engineer water collecting devices that could be used to purify water, for example, for impoverished community after a natural disaster, for example. I thought that was the best example that we could come up with. And then going into what we want our students to learn, we as a science department use the Nebraska Career and College Readiness Science Standards, which heavily emphasize critical thinking, evaluating claims, evidence, collecting data, and processing complex scientific ideas. We are working on vertical alignment as a department between middle school and high school to be able to better support our students with consistent instructional practices and focuses across the different grades, so that by the time I get Mrs. Rowland has the 7th and 8th graders, and by the time I see them again as 10th graders or 11th graders, I'm building on structures and concepts that they are already familiar with, so we can obtain a deeper level of learning there. So that's something we're pretty excited about. It's now developing that alignment, so we'll see how that goes in the next few years. I haven't yet gotten her students yet, because she started when I started. So I don't think I'll see her students until another 1 more year, yeah. So it'll be interesting once we can, once I get those students. As a science department, we came up with an agreement, and we worked with the counselors and administrators to recommend the best pathway for students moving forward choosing their science elective. When I came in last year, there was a little bit of uncertainty on which science elective students going into their junior year should take. So we discussed that and came up with sort of deciding on what the student and the parents need to discuss and understand what the future holds for the student. Are they thinking about a 2-year school, 4-year school, career, military, what have you? And then purposefully choose their science course. So we made some recommendations. If you think maybe you're going to college, you should probably take chemistry. You definitely want to take that in high school, for example, rather than have your first experience being college. Or versus like an applied science or even anatomy. So we talked about those different options and provided a plan there. I'm sorry, I don't know how long it's too specific.
Do great.
You're doing great.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
What else?
You get smaller.
The last thing I want to talk about is in other information at the bottom. Mrs. Rollins is working with Amplify. So they adopted Amplify before she came here. And she's overcome some challenges. I believe there were some rostering issues and site overloading issues. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Amplify, but it's really designed to be a sit and get module learning platform for science. And she's done a really great job of developing supplemental materials to support learning, because I don't know if you realize, I'm sure you do, students don't learn very well by just sitting and getting, right? So she's developed additional resources that help them. She's seen a ton of growth, and she's had the opportunity to teach students that didn't have that before, and now are experiencing that with Amplify. And they report that they like the learning much better with those supplements. So she's doing a really great job there. And additionally, Mr. Clement has also implemented some updated sensors and firmware, and is finding a lot of benefit in that with his curriculum in chemistry and physics. And additionally, for me in biology, I am utilizing the Young Adolescent Scientist program where you from UNL, and you can check out science labs. Right now, I checked out a gel electrophoresis and PCR equipment, so we can do this innovative where the students will be actually testing their own DNA to see if they have this genetic variation. So that's what we're doing right now. The last thing I want to leave you with is I'd like to purchase, and I put this in our purchase request for this next year. I'd like to purchase some robotics kits for applied science. In the past, we've emphasized a lot of engineering and building structures, and that's still an important part of the curriculum, but I'd also like to implement more 21st century skills that robotics can provide, like learning to design, program, troubleshoot, and collaborate as a team with these kits. Do you have any questions?
Mr. Kern, you were talking a little bit about how you try to tailor the science path for what the student has, and if they're going to go to college or trade school or military, which I think is a great idea, because science and math are always the courses that kind of get students, if you will. What's been the feedback on the student and kind of doing it?
This is the first year that we've had that program in place.
Yeah.
We've had a majority of the this year's juniors in chemistry, and I'd say the feedback is positive. They're learning a lot. Mr. Clement's chemistry is definitely in line with preparing them for a college chemistry course. So I've talked to them. I haven't talked to them in terms of how they're doing in chemistry, but I did talk to them. Many are excited to take anatomy and physiology next year, which I teach.
Okay.
And they seemed really excited to take another science class. So that's good. They didn't get scared away.
Yeah.
They want to keep going. So yeah. And just from the feedback, from what I'm hearing of Mr. Clement speaking about chemistry, he's having a great time. The kids are really interested. So I think that's going to be well. Yeah. And then as far as for the sort of other track, the students that aren't interested in first, like a 4-year, even 2 college, they go towards applied science. Yeah. They're definitely enjoying more of the hands-on learning. These are a lot of these are the kids that like to get their hands dirty, right? So we're trying to tie in the engineering practices and the career, like how this relates to your career. For example, one thing we did with them was a cost analysis. When we looked at mining, we got into some natural resources, so we looked at sort of cost analysis of mining, and they actually had a really good time.
I'm just going to ask you when you say applied science, what do you mean by that for us non-curriculum folks?
Yeah, applied science, anywhere science is applied to the real world.
Okay.
Right now, we're wrapping up forensics, so we're learning about how forensic science uses science to evaluate the evidence. We've looked at engineering, so how science principles are applied to building a structure, airplane, testing, modifying materials. We're going to look at rocketry in the end, because the kids love to do the final build a rocket.
Yeah.
So we're going to look at some aerospace principles, but also different careers in that area. So it's just a kind of a vast little.
It sounds like a lot of fun stuff. Do you get a lot of the chemistry kids that you kind of want to, hey, wait a minute, what are they doing over there?
Yeah. He did tie in some stuff at the end of the semester last semester, so they got to do some fun build things that they wouldn't normally. Yeah.
Have you seen applied sciences like kind of grow a little bit more? I feel like Arlington has really expanded on like FFA and more of like helping kids understand that there's not just a 2-year and 4-year degree. There's other options out there. Have you seen that that's kind of correlating with applied sciences or not yet?
Well, since this is my second year teaching,
Yeah,
I'd say
still
maybe
new.
not quite yet.
Mhm.
This class that I have this year is much smaller than what I had last year.
Mhm.
Last year we did have 2 sections. This year we have 1 and it's rather small. But I will say, sort of in conjunction with that, applied science definitely relates to the ag and FFA program we have.
Mhm.
That's a great example of applied science. And that program is doing excellent. So I would say yes, I think it is growing.
Awesome.
They just, not all those students always transfer into that class
Mhm.
because it's not, maybe college.
Mhm. Last question I had was you talked about vertical alignment.
Yes.
So is that something that you've noticed that we currently do not have? Or is it something that we kind of have, but we want to strengthen?
I would say this is an area we can strengthen for sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So is that going to be kind of something that's throughout the whole, like, science from the elementary level all the way through the middle school and high school? It's going to be like a big group effort of how are we going to tie all these together?
I think that's the conversation we still need to have.
Okay.
Ultimately, that would be awesome.
Mhm.
But between our PLC, which includes the middle school and high school, we're having those conversations now that I do see in the future that would definitely be a goal
Mhm.
was to align those practices and just to get more nobody's doing anything wrong.
Yes.
More consistent, like
More effective.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Build on what they're learning at the base level and just keep building on it
Exactly.
instead of switching it up all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there isn't like redundant material like, oh, I already learned about food chains, I learned about food chains, that sounds now.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yes.
just make sure that we're continually building on, not just reteaching the same thing.
I feel like I've heard that from kids.
Like,
I know all about the plant cells. I'm like, great.
yes. So that's the thing in science, and it can get tough because if there isn't vertical alignment, nobody really knows what other people are teaching.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions, Ms. Gray? Thank you for being here. You're welcome to stay, however, we will not judge you if you
Nobody else
exit
has.
stage left.
I did create CT craft drinks if I went home.
You're
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Thank you.
Have a
Yes,
good evening.
thank
Thank you
you.
for coming. We will go into principal reports.
Perfect. So we had our preschool parent meeting. That's just where we bring in parents' perspective. Oh Lord, speaking is hard for me today. Prospective parents and kind of give them a once over of what preschool is like, and then they fill out the application process. We actually, because of where it fell, like right after last board meeting, we already got our notes out to families that have been accepted to preschool. We are full and we have a wait list, which happens every year. We have managed so far to get all 4-year-olds in, which is always our goal. Get all the 4-year-olds in, and then we have a few sweet 3-year-olds waiting there on the wait list there. 5th and 6th grade had their band and choir concert, and there's a couple pictures of that there for you. And then also 3rd and 4th grade, we were in a busy month to get some concerts in. 3rd and 4th grade, they do not have band yet, but 4th grade does learn rehearse, which is fantastic.
Great.
I know. They actually sounded really good though. I mean, like,
Ukuleles was what struck me.
Yeah.
and then PTO purchased ukuleles for Mrs. Moran last year, and the 4th grade has been learning ukuleles. So they did a little ukulele. Each class did a song, and then the choir sang. So it was a lot of fun. Some good stuff there. And then we kicked off state testing, kicked it off, and had a little celebration. And this starts for us science. I'm gonna say this wrong. Next week, I think. I mean, there's
So you're
tomorrow.
probably-
I think we're next week. I think, I'm gonna go with next week. I think we're map testing this week and we're in skills next week or something. We got testing, but lots of testing. There's lots of testing coming up in the next 6 weeks. I can't keep it all straight.
Yeah.
Lots of testing. We did have a paper, rock, paper, scissors. I've been told I say that wrong every single time. I start with paper. Apparently rock is where you're supposed to start. Rock, paper, scissors competition.
It's in the detail.
It is in the
No, now I'm
Because I said
questioning
it wrong.
it.
Yeah, see, as my husband says, in an investigation, details matter. So that's where we're going.
It's a nice Jack Reacher.
You go from your shoulders.
Quote
He
there,
does, that's exactly right,
Yeah.
that's exactly right. But we did have, staff and students participated and then had a
Saw
rock,
that.
paper, scissors off, in the end, Mr. Casey was victorious.
This is, in the end, it was about 300 beads.
Yes, it was a lot, it was pretty funny, so, all good stuff there. So that's it. Any questions? Perfect.
Mr. Pinson.
All right, we had the champion, rock, paper, scissors, Mr. Daisy on our side. So, yeah, that should have been at the top.
Yeah, where's this picture? Come on.
Is there like a belt that comes with that, or?
You
No,
can't-
just a big pile of.
You can't relive it. I mean, so we'll see everybody at prom Saturday, not this Saturday, next Saturday, so just come on up to the school. We do like to see, board members, especially, at the beginning, just to see everybody dressed up and everything like that. If you want to hang around and stay and chaperone prom, that's great. If you want to help out with postpone, that's great too. But this is, opportunity to thank everybody, who's out in the community who has helped out. It's the intent of prom and post-prom especially is, we want kids to have fun and safe evening. So appreciate parents and community members who are adding to that. We recently got Mrs. Cover recognized as the Nebraska Economics Educator of the Year. So they came up here and recognized her, and then she went to the Capitol, and she's now ambassador. Yeah, I'm like, well, be careful. So
The kids got a great experience. They got to
Yeah,
shake
they
hands
did.
with the governor.
they did, and well, beyond well deserved.
Yeah.
She's the gold standard when it comes to business education in Nebraska, and well deserved. So, we went to Midland Business Days with FBLA, they competed. I believe it was 14 schools, we got first out of 14 schools, and then students who placed first, received, $25,000, renewable scholarship. And you see second and third place, they received some, it cuts into the cost of Midland, and that helps if kids are going there. Then we have all of our state competitions. FFA, was this past week. FBLA and skills is this coming, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I think a couple of big results. We had 6 students earn their state degree. We had a championship dairy judging team, and then a variety of other things. But we just got the results Saturday that we saw today. A lot of the new results. And then we're looking for great things with skills and FBLA coming up. So we had FFA week, kind of highlights what we did. And then on Wednesday, we have a conference art show as well. So a lot of things going on. We got a concert tomorrow night if you want to make your way up to the building. There'll be a music concert as well. So a lot of things going on.
Good time of year.
It is.
Thank you, Mr. Pinson. Mr. Shader.
Always like to recognize the academic all-state award winners there for the winter sports season that's down below. Skylar Logan and Noah Nanahoff for the boys basketball team, Taylor Art and Austin Fleishman for the girls team. Speech with Joe Burns and Colby Ty. Girls wrestling and Nora and Gleason and Callie Shear, and boys wrestling Tasia Harris and Braxton Salt. So kudos to those kids, and I mean across the board keeping their academics up while being busy all winter long, and congratulations to those families. I just tried to highlight some of the things that we're doing, because there's plenty of initiatives to talk to, several of those. Their district music contest is the same weekend as prom, Friday, Saturday, so that's a big event for concerts and for performing arts there. Honors night is actually the last Thursday of the month there.
And then if you want to help work the track meets at the beginning of May, feel free to let us know. You could, I don't know, Mark shot or disc, if you ever participated in that before.
Retired.
Okay, all right. You're welcome to come out to the boys golf meet. That one is a little less stress, so that's really fun. So excited to have that. And then the booster club hosting 6 mile there, annual athletic banquet as well. So several exciting things. We play about 14 baseball games to make up for 11 of that. So
Yeah, they're gonna have a trip.
yes, we'll have a track. Sure.
Yeah, Friday.
Yeah, Friday, on Sunday.
Supposed to be more.
Yeah. And the wind dies down, the times will be good.
Where's the golf tournament? Is that 3 miles?
We're at River Wilds now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's our new one course. I don't know if we discussed that with you guys or not.
No, didn't know.
We did last fall too, didn't
Did we? I don't know.
we? Yeah, the girls were there last fall.
Yeah, we were not invited back to the Fremont Golf. So, you know,
Oh,
Okay.
they kept it to Fremont schools. So
okay.
thankfully, River Wilds invited us. I apologize.
That's
I'll
fine.
be
Well-
separate. So
Hey, as long as you got it all figured out.
it's worth it.
Good.
And that was worked well. Fremont worked well.
Yeah.
No problem.
Awesome.
And I heard we had a track meet with a lot of entries.
A lot of entries.
Yeah.
In the 100 especially.
No, it's really-
200 is close, yeah.
Yeah.
Balloons open, you got the open, right?
We got them all,
What time?
time, a distance, and a mark.
What time did that 4x4 end at?
I think we're at 8:30.
It was a fun. There was
Junior high.
it was junior high.
Junior.
Yeah.
Hey, DC West turned around and did the same thing though with high
Yeah.
school kids.
They did
The
19
next week,
among them,
'cause they were
yeah.
pretty.
Yeah.
In the
A couple of parents in here got the top.
2018.
Do you guys see your kids' name? Leading the state in Class C for times.
Yeah. I read through
Yeah.
it.
I haven't seen it.
I read through it yesterday.
It's in the paper yet.
Well, Harold, yeah. So that's it. Anyway, so congratulations. I know it's early, but that's
Kids
cool.
doing big things.
Yeah.
Keep it healthy.
Yeah.
Any other questions from Mr. Taylor? All right. We'll go to agenda item number 6, superintendent's report, Dr. Lewis.
Yeah. Your NUSB and Northside, that's our first thing. Those. Legislative updates. I tried to get on and watch today and I could not, I don't know what was going on. Did you see anything, Chase?
No, I was not able to watch today.
But, so I'm not sure if it was my computer or a few internet issues for the computer, but they just weren't broadcasting. But anyway, a couple things that we're paying attention to and we're not sure, because there's just a few more days in the session. LB 388 and LB 1331, the companion bills here. One is the property tax relief and one is how are we going to fund education if we provide this property tax relief. So the two of them kind of have to. And it was my understanding that 388 was advanced more as a shell than when it came out of debate last week. Because it did receive a bit to vote, and so they were waiting for second round debate on that, but it advanced as a shell. So basically, they're waiting for the pieces, the funding pieces to fall into it. So not sure if anything is going to happen with that session yet. The other big one that we're watching, LB 575, which is coming back from last year, which was sports and spaces, which is participation and use of locker rooms and these facilities, which have to be limited to the gender you are assigned at birth.
And that failed.
It did fail. They didn't have enough votes to move that forward. And then 1402 is Senator Lanahan's answer to her opportunity scholarships getting placed on the ballot for a public vote. So this is, I believe they took, what piece did they take out of it? Did they take the tax credit out of it for now or something like that? Just running advance it. I'm not exactly sure how that went. But anyway, so if this passes, it's my understanding that the people don't get to vote. If this does not pass, it stays on the ballot. That's my understanding of what was going on. So
And how many days left the session?
just
3 or 4.
handful, yeah. Just,
Yes.
yeah.
I
Not,
believe
I think
Thursdays,
they might, yeah.
I believe Thursdays and next Fridays.
Yeah. Sorry, the 60-day session goes fast.
Yeah.
Especially, yeah. Anyway, It just seems like there hasn't been that much debate.
No, more than last year, but that doesn't take much.
Yeah, and they're, the correct term, we called them the Christmas tree bills last year, the omnibus bills, I guess. Is what we have not seen quite the extent of what that big one was last year. Everything's coming out, but I don't remember what was on those numbers. Okay, and then the last thing I have on my report is just our digital video board, updates, so fundraising so far. We have raised commitments of $277,500. There was a mistake in Excel, and so I got that corrected. If we had thought it was 282, but some has been there for us to do that. So 277,500. Recall the cost of the board themselves was 268,000. So we have a $25,000 anchor to sell yet. Yeah, and then the center of another 12,000. There's a couple of Mr. Shady's waiting to hear from, but we're in good shape as far as that goes. And as of today, because we have one more check deposits today, or that came in today, we've collected 99,000 so far. So more than a third came in the first year. Remember, that's a 5-year commitment. So there were a few that paid the full amount up front. So that essentially is paying for that down payment. We're close, not quite the full amount of the down payment, but like within $12,000 of that down payment that we put down. So that has been replenished there in the special building fund. So you can see that. That's all I have.
How about the install?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's next Monday. I think the gym is pretty much shut down all next week to begin and complete that install. So it's next week. Next Monday, they're scheduled to begin.
So hopefully we'll have the senior slide show up there.
Well, the senior slideshow will be, we'll be running into prom there. So hopefully we're done and ready to decorate for prom. That's what we're.
Yeah, they're confident that it's more so Dak tries to engineer a new way to ship them and kind of cut down on some of those different pieces. And so if they were sending us the old way they shipped them, it would be a 3-day setup for the company to design. This is a little bit new for them, so they just want us to block out a couple of things.
Yeah.
They're pretty confident that the Fremont Electric has all the wiring done. We had that pre-meeting at a time. It's all sitting right where it needs to be. And so it's just a matter of what it looks like when it comes, and then how they get it up there, and it's got to work from there. So American Lithium Sign work a day ahead of the electrical company come back behind and we connect with them and making sure that, you know, where they thought they left everything right where it needs to go. From there. So, we hope it's that straightforward.
I'm assuming there's no plans to utilize these.
No. If there's anything like that,
Never was.
they'll just be, no, it'll just be the feed itself coincides and we'll need a little time to learn the software to figure out exactly what they can do. So to think that they're gonna be installed by Wednesday and that we're gonna be ready to roll with them and have, you know, all kinds of graphics and cool things by Friday would be a stretch. So, in my opinion, it would be a stretch.
I think you're
Now,
right.
maybe Mr. Parsons is
Say,
watching.
Mr. Parsons probably
Yeah.
like, don't
He's
help
like,
me.
Challenge
Get out of the way.
Accepted.
Yeah.
He's like, give me the Cadillac, I'm ready to roll.
Give me the keys.
Yeah, if there's one guy that
We
could
drive
probably
slow
roll with
around
it
the
with
driveway
limited
on Tuesday.
tutorial.
He's your guy.
Yes.
He's the guy.
For sure.
Yep, so he's gonna come, I apologize. He's gonna come, take about a half a day, start learning from some of the engineers and folks that are there, and then possibly we'll see what that looks like on Friday. So just committed him to get time with the professional folks. and
Sure.
electronics and everything, so.
That's we.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that.
Agenda item 7, committee reports. Negotiations committee has met, for sure, once, maybe twice since the last meeting.
Well, I think we met once, but we
Oh,
met the month prior, and then since we
We
only
met
had
twice
four,
since the last
yeah,
formal report out, which
Yeah.
will happen a little later.
we were missing a couple of members last month, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll go into detail of those, all those
We're on the agenda.
meetings and the other on the agenda.
I think maybe one thing that's important is just like mentioning fortunate is that we held a consistent array from the teachers to the administrators to the non-certificate
Yeah.
staff this year. So every average or median or midpoint salary that they're looking at are from the same group of schools for every group of people.
Every
with median
category.
salaries and wages. That's a little bit of a change. That we did this
Yeah.
year. So,
Good points.
There is no unfinished business. New business going off of agenda item number 1, off negotiations. So negotiations committee, Cass, Mr. O'Daniel, and myself met on the administrator contracts. Those are all attached. The board received, the full board received a raise on each of those contracts and positions, excuse me, to get a sense of where our admin is as compared to the schools in the array. Just general thoughts and kick over the numbers. I think our admin looks pretty solid in the array. You'll see most of our admin positions has a few more years of service at the institution of the district than others. You'll also see for sure 2 of our admin have much more advanced degrees as compared to their counterparts in their same positions. I'll turn over to you two. Any other general comments before we kind of go into the meetings, if you will?
I think so this year, as Dr. Lewis had brought up, we used the same array for all of this, for all the different departments. So whether we're talking about teachers, admin, paraprofessionals, whoever it was, we used the same schools to talk about everyone. In the years past, we didn't. There was different arrays for different groups of people. So we found out that when looking through especially with this group, with our admin team, the array looked very different than it did last year. Do you agree, disagree?
Somewhat different.
I feel like it was just like there was some areas that were way bigger differences than what we've seen in the past, but also I felt like gave us a more accurate representation of what we're looking at with schools within our area too. So that was really nice to see, like, no matter where we're at, we're still following, like, meeting our goals of being at the midpoint. Like, it's the goal of the board to be at or near the midpoint of our arrays, and we're still doing that. So it's just nice to, like, kind of solidify those things. That array was sent out last month. So if you want to go, so if you want to go look at those, there's a lot of stuff in there. Go check them out. But I don't know, I think that was helpful in, like, really solidifying, like, yes, we are moving in the right direction. We're sitting in the right direction already. So it was that all of those things helped, like, make our decisions, obviously.
Yeah, I would just add that, this committee, like I said, this committee, our goal is to have our admin team and our teachers and everybody else at the midpoint of their respective arrays. That's how we make these decisions. And there have been years past where we had to have a lot of movement where we were behind. That wasn't really the case this year. I mean, all the movement was very, very close to the same increases that the certificated staff got, the teachers got. It was around, I'm use that term, around 4% where they landed. And so we've done good work over the past several years. And, it's not the board's job to evaluate the admin team as employees, but, I think we all will agree that we've got a great group of people up here, and getting them to work for our school district in that way is fair for everybody. I'm happy with the solution. I have no problem recommending this.
Yeah, we definitely, to Matt's point, we don't evaluate the full admin team, but we look at the data and the numbers and our decision making and the applicable arrays and adjust accordingly. And I think what we are proposing is definitely very cool.
Yeah, but it's great to open this up. I know we've got the majority of the board tonight on the committee, but board members are not on the committee. If you have any questions, please fire them.
I was just surprised when you guys sent that out last month.
some of those numbers could be 20% low, and the next one was 20% high. I mean, there was like
That's why it's so hard to.
one
It's a-
oddball
Mhm.
kind of in every
Outliers,
column, whether
yeah.
it was really low or really high. So
Mhm.
it's just hard to blend all together, you know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yes. You know, we need to make good decisions on behalf of the taxpayers. We need to make good decisions on behalf of the school district as well. And there's no better investment than quality leadership in a school district. And, you know, I feel like we have that. I think this board, you know, works well with the admin team, and we're in a real good spot, you guys, who we have working for us in their contracts. If there's no more questions, I would like to make a motion to approve the admin and director contracts as presented for the 24-25 school year.
I will second that. It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, let's go ahead and vote.
Cassie Clausen.
Yes.
Chase Bradley.
Yes.
Ryan Longo.
Yes.
Matt O'Daniel.
Yes.
Jason Knopf.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. We will go to agenda item 9.2. This is regarding superintendent contract for Dr. Lewis. Pretty much all our previous comments,
Why?
yeah, exactly, go for the superintendent as well. Everything, we use the same array that we just talked about. We look at years in the district, years in education. We look at education and where they stand as compared to their peers, and then we kind of adjust accordingly again. There's not a whole lot to say here since we kind of said everything, unless anybody has any particular questions, because sometimes the superintendent contract can be a little different when you read it than the admin contracts. But, okay, with that, I'll make a motion to approve the addendum to superintendent contract for 2024-2025 as proposed.
I will second.
That's made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All right, let's go and vote.
Chase Bradley.
Yes.
Ryan Longo.
Yes.
Matt O'Daniel.
Yes.
Jason Knopf.
Yes.
Cassie Clausen.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Agenda item 9.3, this is to discuss, consider taking necessary action to form an ad hoc committee on sports co-ops with other districts. So kind of give you a background here, and then Mr. Shada, if you want to chime in too, because I know you've been involved in these. So as everybody knows, here recently this board has added soccer as a co-op, and then we had a lot of parents and interested parties come to the board meeting with an interest in having bowling co-op with Fremont. And I thought, Dr. Lewis and Mr. Shea thought it may be a good idea to kind of study this a little more when it comes to co-op agreements, because as you can imagine, Mr. Shea, please chime in here, not every co-op is equal to another co-op, if you will, as it pertains to cost to the district or facilities or possible participation numbers. So Mr. Shea, maybe I'll take it over to you, because this is kind of your expertise.
I think what we just, the board probably wants to know, obviously, who's gonna be involved and what's the cost gonna be. Anytime you start to look at that, just depends on what facility, sport, or activity we'll need to use. Swimming inherently costs a little bit more than soccer will because of renting a facility. Soccer, when we go off of Fremont to have the facility, we own the facility, that cost is a lot cheaper than the shooting cost. Bowling would be something you consider when renting the facility would cost more. So that's kind of some of the things we start to factor in other activities that we maybe start to look at co-oping, if that's what the board would like to do. Facilities, number of kids. I think the sharing of coach price is pretty relatively across the board, similar number, things like that too. So, and then when you talk about the cooperative Fremont, it's just based on per athlete, how many athletes you have in that program, and how many they have in range too. So it looks like that.
What would be the goal of this committee?
I think it's to determine if there needs to be a policy written as it pertains to co-op agreements with other districts in athletics, and to learn more about to maybe formalize a more clear-cut process when it comes to
Sure.
co-op agreements. And for a little bit of background, you know, we're obviously a Class C school. Currently, right now, we offer all the NSA sanctioned sports except for two, I believe, off the top of my head. So just looking at what is the best fit for Arlington and the Class C school going forward in athletics and co-ops.
I think it's a great discussion to have because we offer our kids, academically in different programs and athletically, a lot of different things that many schools our size don't. And we're very fortunate to be able to do that. We're fortunate to have kids that are interested and have the ability to be involved in multiple activities and maintain success. But, you know, it's not really a but, and we always got to look at new opportunities for them, you know. But it's different, we can't provide everything as well. So I think looking at this with committee, creating the policy, having a better understanding of how these contracts are written, what the costs are, would be good for the district so that we have a template going forward when these things come up. We had swimming, how many years ago was that? Probably 7.
Well, Chase has a story about that, actually.
Yeah, swimming. So actually, our first participant, I was in high school here.
Wow.
So there's a kid in my class that participated
Uh-huh.
in that first 3 months. And so I don't know what happened in the interim there, but I know for a fact an individual in my class participated.
Yeah. And now soccer, and so I think it's a great idea to get a committee involved, keep the AD obviously and the superintendent. and principal,
Yeah, I think
and
Mr. Shea would be a big part of that.
figure out what the best ways to look at this stuff is.
Well, and I think when we were having a discussion about rolling and things like that, a couple of times it came up, well, those are policies that.
Yeah.
We don't have a policy. It's not enough policy manual anywhere. So if you see the policy that's coming up, that's administrative action and absence policy, which is how we've been doing this, right? We've been making these decisions to either add or not add things without a policy guidance. So my ultimate hope would be that we come up with some like, even if it's a flow chart policy or something like that, it doesn't have to be an adopted board policy, but a practice policy that we can follow. When the students when it's a request, when they, you know, the cost to the district, you know, those types of.
Well, I think too, Dawn, I think something else that's got to look at too, you know, for the Class C school and having the number of kids that we have, the amount of activities that are offered, you know, I hate to say it, where do you draw a line in the sand?
Yeah.
You know, and I think that without having this committee, I mean, that's something that needs to be brought up, because I mean, you're talking about Class C school that's looking at blended with Fremont school, which is a Class A school. So, I mean, I get it. I get what they're doing, and I get how it's gonna work, but yeah, I definitely think this committee needs to happen, because I mean, that's something that needs to be considered also.
Learned, are they reaching out to other schools?
I
Or
don't
is
know
it
if
just
there's-
kind of?
I really don't know if it was just prompted by some, like, parents here or there. I don't know where that started, and that's a great question too.
You know, one of the first questions we've got to answer with this committee is whose decision is this? I question whether it's a board decision. Is that decision lands with the administration, doesn't land with the committee on the board? I mean, that's, you know, when you talk about boardmanship, you talk about policy, budget, and superintendent. We write a policy for this, you know, that's a board policy that it takes us out of the loop, which I think is technically proper.
I do too, I agree with you.
Where, you know, because we don't make decisions for the football team or the basketball team or anything like that. I don't know that that's our role. But without a policy,
We'll definitely.
yeah, we'll have to do that. So great idea, Chase. Good plan. Are you gonna, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just gonna open it up. You know, we'll have 3 people serve on this, so I will open it up to the floor. Whoever really wants to be on this, would like to be, I'll kind of throw it out to anybody that's interested.
I feel like an ad hoc committee, the president should always be a part of the ad hoc. Any ad hoc committee that's out there, so I'm gonna nominate you
Okay.
first.
First.
Well, I think it's important because, that's the
That's
role, yeah.
I will volunteer.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. You guys feel strongly about being on this committee, or?
Well, no, it's nothing that says it has to be free.
That's true.
Yeah, it can be, how many people
Okay.
do you want it to be too, I guess?
You can't have more than 3.
That's
Can't have
true.
more than.
Well, here's the deal. I mean, what do you think about, I'm just throwing it out there. What do you think, with just having a couple board members and that way you can have more feedback from the administrator? I mean, they're the ones that got to do it.
Yeah.
As far as our, I'm just saying, JD, you
Just
can
throwing that
smile all
out
you
there.
want, but I
My phone rings, Brian, I appreciate that.
That's fine, but I'm just saying, you're the ones that deal with it day-to-day basis, I'm not, I agree, I love this committee, but I just don't know if it's something, I think it should be more of the,
The admin team brings a policy
Yes.
to the board.
There you go.
Approval. Then
That's
you
how
were
I
doing
do
this, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Well, if you guys want to sit on the committee, we can bring that way we can bring either one of the 3 of us in, or if you want, I'm happy to sit on it too, if you really want a third person. You're the pres.
I don't have a preference.
Okay.
So if, I know schedules are always difficult, but if you want to sit on, that's fine. If not, we can bring in. So,
I'm happy to.
Just be free that way,
Okay.
and if everybody can't make it, so.
Yeah.
each meeting, that's fine.
Okay. Then,
I've been bringing them, it should be.
yep.
The motion.
You guys all right with that?
Okay.
I'm good with it, okay, I got no problem.
Okay. I'll make a motion to appoint Catherine Flesner, Matt O'Daniel, and Chase Cradaville to ad hoc committee to research and develop policy regarding activities collaborating with other districts.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote.
Emma,
Yes.
Matt O'Daniel,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Kathy Klesner,
Yes.
Chase Craddock.
Yes. All right, motion carries. We will start looking at the schedule. Commissioner Wing with Mr. Sherwood and Dr. Lewis and go from there. Agenda item 9.4, this is regarding discuss, consider, and take necessary action to approve non-certificated staff salaries increases. So again, kind of based going off of what we said earlier, same principles really apply here. We look at the arrays where other school districts are in the non-certificated staff. And when we say non-certificated, paras, custodians, bus drivers, kitchen staff, secretaries, and am I missing any, Dr. Lewis?
Yes, like your department directors, like technology.
Thank you.
Yep.
And then, as Dr. Lewis said, the directors. So this was, again, pretty straightforward. There's a couple nuances though, in there. And those are in the attachments, as you can see. A couple of them will highlight, kitchen staff, secretary and directors was pretty straightforward. And that was mirroring, the certificated staff and also the admin contracts of a 4% increase. The other 4% was custodians. I want to highlight this one though. We added a shift differential. We have one custodian that works during the day when this building is full of students, and obviously there's a lot going on. A different environment to work in when we have 700 students here and a lot of teachers, so they have to deal with maybe some chaos that the other custodians don't see in after hours. So we thought it made a lot of sense to add a shift differential there for that custodian.
And that is also due to the base rate chart, the second attachment.
Yep.
So that's detailed. other one that got tricky was transportation activities. So it looks like it's a straight up 40%, but it's really what some of the drivers were making. It's not quite 40%, but it's consistent with pay raise. Schools are paying $21 and $22 an hour.
We talked about the transportation. I feel like we talked about the transportation
A lot.
which is, it's important. That's
Yeah,
why we
it's
talk
good.
about it a lot. There was a lot of discussion with us about how do we figure out when someone's missing their route, they used to get that like partial payment, then someone said they did and they didn't, and that was a whole discussion last year. So to try to clean that up, we are just doing the straight base rate, $24. And then we take away all those others. Well, what if you miss your route? Well, what about this? What about that? We're taking away all those what if situations. It's just a flat rate of $24. So there still is a longevity thing. All that still applies, but that base rate for activities is $24, no matter what time of day it is or what you're missing or whatever. It just cleans it up. We're trying to make everybody's life a little easier.
Well, and make it fair and equitable for the bus
Yeah.
drivers as well. I mean,
Yeah. I think there's some times where there was so many different variables that they were trying to consider too, that it made it hard for them to make decisions. Or then they were coming in because they didn't maybe they thought one thing, but somebody else thought a different thing. So then it was causing, confusion. So it's just trying to clean it all up. So, and it's in line with the arrays and whatever, and what other areas are doing as well. I think that we value our bus drivers, obviously, and having to have a service. So that was one thing that we took into account when we settled on that $24 as well, because it is a bit higher than, not a lot, but it is a little bit higher than other schools. Because we do have really good bus drivers, and we want to keep them, and we want to, hopefully get another one or two.
And that's
So
something
that
too.
played into it.
Yeah, in the past 5 years, we have not added any new bus drivers.
Yeah.
It's just becoming more and more challenging where we know that our bus drivers have other things going on in their lives. We want to make it important enough for them to be able to stop what they're doing for a while and then drive bus for us, and also maybe attract a new employee because we've managed to hire custodians and kitchen employees and fill these other positions that are really hard to fill, and we have not been able to. We acknowledge that some of it is a new federal requirement, but there's all of this additional training that has to be, and it's not easy to get a bus license, even though we help them with that and we pay them for that, and we give them training and we pay for their licenses and things like that. It's just really hard to get someone to make it lucrative enough for someone to come and drive us. Because essentially it's a part-time job.
Sure.
Most of the people that are doing this.
Or, we're doing something
Right.
additional.
So we need it to be attractive enough that we can recruit a couple of bus drivers for subs for activities and things like that. I see both nudging each other over here. They may both already have CEOs. I'm just saying. That goes into it. You want to treat the ones that we have fairly. And
Yeah.
Make it attractive enough that
Mhm.
people want to come and do it.
We did address the routes a little bit as well. We increased those normal routes a little bit. Other thing I wanted to highlight too, I think it's very applicable. A lot of the starting base pay rates we adjusted, and we did this to get ahead of the state law that's coming. So starting next January, starting minimum wage in the state of Nebraska is $13.50. And the following year in 2026, the minimum wage is $15. It was a ballot issue 2 years ago. Yeah. So we want to be out ahead of that, obviously, and that's why you'll see those base rates at the top of that classified fee schedule reflect accordingly. And the only ones that are a little different, you will see are on the kitchen side and also on the custodian side, and that is to reflect really that market and trying to hire those positions and keep those positions, because those are tough positions to fill. So that's why we see a little bit different base pay rate on those two. Passing that, I can see anything.
No, very thorough.
So with that, I will make a motion to approve the non-certificated staff increases as proposed for 2024-2025.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Matt. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, let's go ahead and vote.
Matt O'Donnell,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Cassie Clausen,
Yes.
Teresa Harden,
Yes.
Ryan Lochte.
Yes.
Motion carries. Agenda item 9.5, discuss, consider, and approve resolution to cancel 2023-2024 contract of Mrs. Teresa Van Beek for failure to request a hearing denied. So this is a continuation of a previous motion that passed 2 months ago. Yeah, and this is after consulting, well, Dr. Lewis, I'll turn it over to you.
Sure. So initially in February, there was a vote to, not accept the resignation, or the motion to accept the resignation failed. Right, but we knew that she was exiting the position, and moving on. So, the next logical step to that is, taking some necessary steps to try and protect the district and make sure that these things don't continue to happen.
Yeah.
And so, one of those includes, letting the Department of Education know that this is happening and asking them if there's any action that they want to take against that. And the answer to that was, yeah, sure, but you missed this one step, which was canceling the contract also. So, the steps that we took for that was to notify Mrs. Van Beek that her contract was indeed being canceled, so we could move forward with that next step. She had the right to request a hearing regarding that matter, and we did not receive any notification within the 7 days that she had to move as she was going to request a hearing. So this is where we're at. We'll be able to complete that with the Department of Education to get this function.
And Dr. Lewis, just procedurally, here's what we understand, the resolution would need to be read.
Yes, so we'll need a motion and a second, and then I'll read it completely, and then we'll cover it.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution to cancel the 23-24 teaching contract with Teresa Van Beek for failure to request a hearing.
I will second it. And moved and seconded.
I'll read the resolution. Whereas Teresa Van Beek was notified on March 22nd, 2024, that the Arlington Board of Education would consider the immediate cancellation of her employment contract. And whereas Mrs. Van Beek did not send a request for a hearing regarding the proposed cancellation of employment within 7 days of receiving the notice, now therefore be it resolved that the board cancel Ms. Van Beek's employment contract immediately upon passage of this resolution. After the above findings and resolution were read in their entirety, board member Daniel moved for passage, board member Crandall seconded the motion. After discussion on roll call vote, the board members voted.
Jason,
Yes.
Cassie Clausen,
Yes.
Teresa
Yes.
Ryan Lochte,
Yes.
Matt O'Donnell.
Yes.
The only question I will have is if we need to, I will probably report Mrs. Wilmot is not present in the building. So,
Motion carries. We will go to agenda 9.6, discuss and consider the 2400 series policies. Dr. Lewis.
And nothing new or being updated in these. For the most part, we've got the line of authority, administrative action, emergencies, which we talked about just a little bit, or an absence of policies to work in there. Meaning we don't have time to, in emergencies, we'll say if we don't have time to call a board meeting or we have an emergency situation happening, it's the procedural line that we would go through and informing the board and then reporting back later. Staff handbooks, we do that every year. professional growth, we keep track of that, teachers keep track of their needs from their manager, and then, like I said, administrative action enforcement is a policy, which means we have a policy for that, we're making the best decision based on the information we have in front of us, and sometimes we consult lawyers, and so that's what these policies do for us.
I had one question on the attendance at professional growth meetings. So the teachers keep track of that themselves, right? Or,
The teachers keep a chart of what they have, and then they're required to turn that in. That is, it's really to prove that they're participating in professional growth, which is a state. That's why we have 10 days, or from that 10 days, but that's why we have to have 10 hours that we study. So it's their way of keeping track of that, and also to maintain their teaching certificates, professional growth. And so they have a form every year, Jim provides it for them, yeah.
Says that they have to show that they have attended 30 hours over a 5-year period,
okay.
as long as they hold their teaching.
So this is just the policy stating that we
Yeah.
do that, right?
And then it mentions too on there, I mean, I put mine on with my absences that you see when I'm taking professional events, it's at the bottom, so, because it mentions mine on there.
I was reading it.
No, it's okay. Okay, cool.
Good question. Okay, questions, concerns, or comments on 2400 series? Alrighty, no action needed on those. With that, we will adjourn at 8:07 PM.